Hi, Bonnie here. So just to go over this basic tackle that you'll need to catch trout in the mountains, I've prepared this very impressive high-tech display for you, so hopefully it's not too distracting with all the bells and whistles. So if you really want to go as basic as you can for fishing on a backpacking trip and you just want to mess around a little bit, all you really need are hooks, sinkers, and maybe one of these lures. But if you want to get a more balanced attack and have a lot of options, this is what I would recommend for throwing in a little tackle box like that. Hooks. You're going to want bait holder hooks. I'd say size 10 to 14 because most of the bait you're going to forage when you're backpacking is going to be small. Even the biggest grasshoppers don't need a very big hook. You want the bait to be relative to the size of the hook. And these are all bait holder hooks, which have they have little spines on the back of the shank so that when you slide the bait up it doesn't readily slide right back off. You're gonna want to get some split shot sinkers. If you see how small they are compared to the dime, these just clamp onto your line a little bit above your hook. And they come in a lot of sizes. They're inexpensive, and what I would do is just buy a few different sizes of split shots, a few different sizes of hooks, and throw them in the box. Get a couple bobbers because you can just throw a grasshopper or a split shot out on a bobber and kick back in the shade. It's nice to do. Lures. These jigs made by Power Bait work really good. They're rubber jigs and they're infused with some scent. They're great because you can fish deep, you can fish shallow, and I'll be using those quite a bit, especially when I'm fishing up in some alpine lakes. Get yourself a couple spinners. These work awesome in streams. They work good in lakes, alpine lakes when you're backpacking. The spinner that I prefer to use is the Panther Martin spinners. The blade spins even when it's barely being retrieved, which is useful inside of a river when you're just trying to let it kind of flow down with the current. They have lead bodies, so they're really heavy, and you can throw them out and they'll sink fast. If you want to expand your horizons into fly fishing, just pick yourself up a fly rod at a garage sale or whatever. Order something online. Dry flies. These are good around sunset. The trout will start rising. You just throw it out there and twitch it every now and then, and hopefully one will grab it. And you're going to want to get fly floating if you're going to fish with dry flies. This one particular brand is Gink. It's really good. You just put a little bit on the fly and it'll keep it from sinking. Because when you're dry fly fishing, you want to emulate a bug that has fallen on the surface of the water and is struggling. I do most of my fly fishing with wet flies, sinking flies. And these are beadhead nymphs. I like them with the little brass beadhead and without. These, if you look at the size of them relative to the dime, everything you're going to be fishing with is going to be small for trout. And with these sinking flies, the majority of a trout's diet is below the surface of the water. So these work really good. I'll be using all of these items in combination when I'm going backpacking up in North Yosemite in June. You want to get a set of these. They clamp shut. You can clip it on your shirt. These will allow you to take the hook out of fish a lot safer, and the survival rate will be a lot better if you want to let them go. Don't be a guy who never learns like me, who still bites his line after decades and probably is just destroying the enamel on my teeth. Throw some nail clippers in because it's really easy to clean up your line and clip the little extra ends, and like I said, it can't be good for my teeth how many times I've bitten my line. So this is really all you need if you're just gonna fish inside of, you want to throw a little tackle in your backpack, you're going backpacking, you want to catch trout. Those lures will do it. These hooks will be for any bait that I'm going to be demonstrating and using. Split shots, there's a heavier one if there's a big current in the river, and you got some lighter ones. So those are all good. Now, if you want to expand your tackle box a little better, A lot of this stuff is good when you're fishing in man-made reservoirs, as opposed to the last stuff I went over, which is really good when you're fishing in alpine lakes, which is a different situation, and streams. So say you're in the foothills and you're fishing, if you're in California, like Lake Don Page or something like that, you're going to want to lures. This is just a bigger Panther Martin, which you could easily throw in your backpacking tackle box because you can fire these really far out from shore. They got a lot more weight to them, and I use these in bigger rivers a lot too, because I like to get down deep inside of the pools. Rapalas also work good backpacking good. This is a floating Rapala. This is what I prefer to use. There's another version called a countdown Rapala, which I'll be using at some point, and those dive down as you retrieve them. You're going to want to get yourself a net with a long handle if you're going to be doing reservoir fishing, because you can hook into some really big trout when you're fishing down by the dam, or you're fishing in the wintertime when the lake is turned over. If you like to take naps, you're going to want to get a bell so that you can just stick it on your pole and just nap it out in the shade on the bank. Very good time, and I do quite a bit of sleeping when I go. Love it or hate it, get yourself some power bait. The hatchery fish, even wild rainbow trout like this. Brown trout really don't seem to like this stuff, but rainbow trout, even wild rainbows I catch in some reservoirs in the higher elevations, they love it. This comes in a variety of colors. It's really easy to use. It's like sticking Play-Doh on a hook. It's very simple. My preferred choice is fishing whole night crawlers when I'm fishing in reservoirs in deep water. So you're going to want to get yourself a worm blower. And what a worm blower is it's got this little needle on it, and it just is a puff of air, and you just put the whole night crawler on your hook, put this into half of it, blow it up so that it floats, and that way your night crawler is suspended above the bottom however far your leader is, however long your leader is. So if you want to fish 4 feet off the bottom, 6 feet off the bottom, that's how long your leader is, and then that's where your worm will be floating. For hooks, you're going to want to get treble hooks. I usually get size 10, 12. I get small treble hooks to use for power bait because I like to put a tiny ball of power bait as small as I can that'll still fit on the line. Then you're going to want to get larger bait holder hooks, and you can really see the spines on these because this hook is a size, I believe this is a size 8 hook. You're going to want 6 and 8s because night crawlers are really big. You're going to want to put the whole night crawler on in the middle, and then you just blow up half of it, and that way it's squirming while it's in mid-water. You're going to want to get sliding sinkers because what sliding sinkers are going to allow you to do is throw your line out, throw your bait out farther from shore, get you down deep, and if the wind's really blowing, it will allow you to just maintain control over your stuff a lot better than it would if you had just a little split shot. So what these are egg sinkers. They got a hole in them, and then you slide that on the line, and then you tie a barrel swivel, which stops the weight, and then your leader comes from the bottom of the barrel swivel, and then that way you have a slip sinker setup. And that way you can leave your line a little loose. If the trout takes it, you'll see your line swimming out. You can get ready, set the hook. You're eating trout in no time. I like to use some of these bigger bobbers when I'm fishing in a reservoir. If the wind's in my favor and blowing out, these are really easy to use. You just slide the spring down, wrap the line around that, and then let the spring go, and then that'll go. And then this stands straight up and down in the water so you can really see it. So when the fish takes it, you'll see that thing go down. You're going to want to get yourself... These rod holders are my favorite rod holders because you can stick them in cracks between rocks. You can stick them straight down into the sand. And as long as your drag is loose, this thing isn't going anywhere. When you catch a fish, you can pull it out and use this part to whack them and dispose of the fish humanely and quickly. So these rod holders are good. You know, you can get these at Walmart. You can get all this stuff at Walmart. They just don't have a wide variety. But, you know, you can go there for 20 bucks and have a trout tackle box that is going to work for you for a long time. So you have all of those. And then basically what you want to do is you're going to want to just, you're just going to want to get a variety of things, because the situations are always a little bit different everywhere you go. And you're going to see that I'm going to be mixing and matching stuff. Everything on here I'm going to use in different situations. I'm going to use it in different ways. There's different patterns that you're going to fish. You know, sometimes it's going to be shallow, sometimes it's going to be deep, sometimes the trout are going to be fishing, eating right on the bank, like up in the mountains. So you just want to have a good variety of stuff, and then you can adjust to whatever the situations are while you're fishing. So starting to trout fish is not too expensive if you don't want it to be, and all you need to do is just have a variety of things ready to go, so that whatever conditions you face, you can do minor adjustments and hopefully start catching some fish. So there you go. There's your starter kit for trout fishing, and hopefully we'll actually get to do some fishing soon, and then we'll be well on our way. But if you're someone that's just always wanted to fish, just make sure you get a fishing license and make sure you check the regulations.